Hey guys, Makuto here for another exciting Bermuda Triangle deck profile. So today what I'm going to be going over is my edited Pacifica deck because of the new winter, Fighters Collection goodies. So, so most of it's exactly the same as how I had it before, just with a few changes to put in the new grade 2 and with the stride. So first, starting with my Vanguard is Akari. When you've got GB1, you can put her into Soul to bring up a card off the field and then draw a card. So this is really good to start combos with your grade 1s, or even with getting the Twinkle Happiness Pacifica to go off. Get that extra draw, maybe get a grade 3 in your hand. So then my trigger lineup, running of course 4 heals. I'm actually running 1 heal trigger from each set, just because why not. Then running 8 crits, and then 4 draw. Even with you getting all those cards in hand with Bermudas, I still feel like you need the extra draw to get a lot of the grade 2s and stuff, so you can actually put a field down, especially these days with a lot of cards that just destroy your field. So you need those extra cards that you can actually play, as well as the guard. So I still play with the draw, and these give +3, so you can help those columns just in case, especially if you want to get Spick off a couple times and you have running the new grade 2 instead of the Sansa, so helps a lot. Now grade 1s for Perfect Shields, of course. This is one of the newer Perfect Shields, so if you have one of these in your drop zone already, then you can up damage. Then running 3 of the Shande, which is the Stride Fodder. When you use her for Stride, she is actually grade 3. Now I'm running 2 Shizuku. Good card when you are and G-Break 1 once per turn. Once she becomes in Harmony, you can check the top 5 for a grade 3, which is really good in this deck. You use it so you can try to get some of those Pacificas in your hand before you counterblast for Twinkle Happiness, just in case you might only have 1 in your hand and you need to get another one, or if you don't have it in your hand yet, you can use this to maybe try to get some, and then use the Akari to bring her back up and put her in a different column so she gets into Harmony again, so you can try again. Then I'm running 2 of Kura. I'm still running her mainly because if your hand's a little lacking and you need to use Limit Break ability for Pacifica, you can get some extra counterblast. Or if you've been using Spick a lot and you haven't gotten the other grade 2 in your hand to unflip damage, then you can use this unflip. It just helps, just that extra unflipper. So when she comes on the field, you can Soul Blast 2 to unflip 2. Very helpful. It's not, I only have 2 because it's not as powerful or as needed as it used to be, but you still kind of need it, so. Good card. I like it. Alright. Oh yeah, and then I'm running 4 of the Yarmok. Yarmok is always good. Anytime a card is picked up off the field, you get +3. So just because you're always picking cards up in this deck, as long as you have one on the field at all times, she's goes columns really high. So I like to use her, especially with Olivia combos. You can actually just hold off on attacking with her until after you've used Olivia, because if you have the grade 2 like a Sana or something in front, then you can attack with Sana first and then attack with your Spigot column. Then Sana restands and attacks again for 15, and then you can use Olivia, pick up 3 or 4 cards. Yarmok gets a big boost, +12, +15, and then when you play another card for Olivia, you can just play one, or you can play one in front of Yarmok, and then you can play another one on the other side. So you can have two columns, and one of them attacks for over 20 easy. So, great card. Then for... Oh, where are the grade 2s? Oh, here they are. Then for the grade 2s, I'm running 3 of Sana. Running 3 of her mainly because having a 12k attacker is very helpful, especially with the Spica combo. It makes it easier for you to attack with one side first, or with just her in front of a Yermak, without having to boost +3 with your draw triggers, and then you can attack with Spica, and then attack with her again at 15. So now this is one of the new cards from the winter, what do you call it, Fighters Collection. It's Marika. Really like this card. When this card is returned to hand from rear, then you can search your deck for a grade 3 with Pacifica in the name. And then if you can show your opponent that you have 3 Pacificas in your hand and each of them are different or have different names, then you can give a card on the field +5. Okay, and you can Soul Blast to countercharge 1. Or Soul Blast 1 to countercharge 1. So, very, very great card. Especially if you use her with Twinkle Happiness' skill, then you can essentially get 2 Pacificas out at one time, so you can do the skills, all the skills you need when you're doing your attacks and whatnot. And then, lastly, 4 Spicas. I'm playing 4 Spicas because I find that she is one of the most important cards in the deck. Maybe even more powerful than Marika. Even though sometimes I feel like you need Marika for the skills to come off, but if you have a Spica on the field, then you can get more attacks, and that helps with pressure a lot, because I feel that Pacifica deck is really rough on getting pressure on, so your opponent just guards everything, and then even though you have a whole handful of cards, it really doesn't help you in the long run, because your columns aren't that great and you're just not doing the kind of damage you need to be. So you need Spica to give Yarmok that extra +3 every pickup, so you can attack with Shauna or with Marika 2 or 3 times per turn. And if you use Spica and Marika together, then you can attack with Marika and then attack with Spica, and then when you pick her up, you can get something else +5. So you can give Spica +5, you can get Yarmok +5, you can give your Olivia or Twinkle Happiness another +5. It just keeps getting the boost. And then if you play Marika again, and then you do use Olivia's skill, then you can give something else +5 again. So very important card in the deck, I feel. So her skill is, if you've got G-Break 1, when she attacks the Vanguard. So she has to attack a Vanguard, but it's when she attacks, and if she's being boosted. So she has to be being boosted, and then you can counterblast 1 to pick up a card off the field, and then put something down on an empty space with +3. So really helpful, especially if you do have the Sana and Yarmok, because then when the Sana comes back down, that and the Yarmok will be getting +3. So it's a column with +6. But if you're playing it with the Marika, then the Marika itself will get +3, so it'll be an 11k. But if you have 3 Pacificas in your hand, then she can give something +5. So very good combos. You can get those columns up really high, which I feel Bermuda had been lacking in the past. I've been playing, especially if you're not playing something like duos, where you're just getting tons of cards in your hand, that when you go to finally attack your opponent, they can just block everything because your columns just aren't that great. So last is the grade 3s. I am only running 8, even though I have 3 different cards, but So we're going to start with 3 of the top. I was playing 2 top before, but I switched it to 3 because I find with the strides, you don't actually need to brake ride as much. Actually, I find that brake riding doesn't help at all. Unless you just don't have the cards and you can't stride, then you can play a planet and then play something on top of it, or the Eternal on top, so you can get the brake ride. But if you're going to stride, then just go ahead and play top. So I play top first, and then I would stride into either Twinkle, or of course I would stride into Twinkle, and then on my next turn, I would cross ride and then stride again. Just so you're at a 13k base when you get attacked the next turn, if you don't finish them off on your second turn as a grade 3. But her skill, she actually has one of the older skills that at 5 damage, you can flip 5 and then Soul Blast 8 to replace 3 cards on your field with cards from your deck. So it's Superior Ride 3, or Superior Call, excuse me, Superior Call 3. So it was first set. It was probably pretty good back then, but now it's pretty worthless. She also has another skill that at the beginning of your main phase, Soul Charge 1, and then draw, and then put a card from your hand at the bottom of your deck. Not a great skill. It does help with the cross ride and maybe getting some cards out of your hand you don't need, or you'd like to put back, like a heal trigger or something. But you don't really you're not really going to use it that much unless you don't stride. And then her last skill is that if you have 4 or more rear guards, she gets +3. So, which is pretty good because she attacks for 13 if she's by herself. If you have a full field. So, not a great card, but still pretty good. So next, I have 3 of the Eternal Idols. Her skills being Limit Break 4, when she attacks, Counterblast 3, and pick up 2 cards off the field, put them in your hand, and then take 1 card from your deck and Superior Call it to the field. So pretty good skill. Does combo with Yarmak, does combo with Marika and other things that go to hand. So very powerful. If you have the top idol Pacifica as in Soul, she does get the +2k, so she does become cross-ridden, so she become a 13. So that's why I usually try to ride her as fast as possible on top of top, just so I can be cross-ridden. It does help a lot when people are attacking, especially these days. A lot of people attack with the Vanguard by itself. They don't put anything behind it because they use that for calling cards that they're going to put into Soul and stuff. So being a 13k base helps with even just standard 11k attackers, or if they've strode once, they're only at 26. So very good. And then playing with 2 Planet Idols. Like I said before, I was playing with 3 because I wanted to break ride more, but since I don't break ride as much, I'm only playing with 2. I do find it hard sometimes to get 3 Pacificas in my hand if I have to ride her first, just because I only have 1 extra one in the deck, and they could end up either in damage or somewhere I can't use it. So I have to make sure that I keep 1 in my hand, so that when I do my skills, or I get her out first if I'm contuted for something, because you don't want to accidentally check her into damage. But her skill is Limit Break 4. When you ride a grade 3 on top of this, then that grade 3 gets +10, and the ability that when you pick up a card from the field, you can Superior Call a card from your deck. She also has a Soul skill that if she's in Soul and you have a top idol on the field, you can Counterblast 1 to put the top idol into deck, and then put this Planet Idol from Soul into your hand, and then you can pick up a card off the field and put it in your hand. So pretty good Soul skill. So if she does hand up in Soul, you can still get her out if you have a top Idol in your hand. So, and that'll, if you ride Eternal on top of it, then you can do that to be both cross-ridden and get this card back in your hand. So it's not too bad. I do like her as a card, or some of her abilities, but these days I only use her because I need 3 different Pacificas for the Twinkle skill. Alrighty, and that's it for the main deck, and now I'll talk about the strides. So, I'm running 4 Olivias. I think pretty much any Bermuda deck running 4 Olivias is standard. You could run just 2, but sometimes I feel like, at first I was only running 2, but then I felt like if I used the 1 and it didn't go through the first turn, then the second time you have very low power strides, and you can't really get back over. There's no more pressure in the deck. But for Olivia, that when she attacks, you can counterblast 1 to pick up to 5 rear guards, as long as all their names are different. And if you pick up at least 3, then she gets plus crit. And then you can put 2 cards down in separate rows before your damage check. So it's pretty good. I use it, of course, with Yarmok to get those extra plus 3s. If you pick up a full field of 4 cards, then that's plus 12 on Yarmok, which is awesome. Even if you only pick up 3, then that's still plus 9. So it's a great card. And then her getting a crit forces them to use a perfect shield. Unless they're at low damage, like 2 or 3 damage. But hopefully, since you have to, this skill only works if you have a card in your G-break zone. So she can't be your first stride. She has to be your second stride. Then hopefully you have done enough damage that they will have to perfect this. And then you can put your triggers on one of the cards you put back down, or stuff like that. So, great stride. And then, running 4 of the new Twinkle Happiness Pacifica. Definitely when these cards came out, I had to put 4 in. At first I was running just 2, because I didn't really think that I would be able to get the skill off my first turn, just because I thought it was too much trying to get all 3 Pacificas in hand. But if you ride this first, then you can use Akari, use Shizuku, use Marika, and you will have at least 2 Pacificas. You should have at least 2 Pacificas in your hand before you use this skill. And then once you use this skill, if you have a Marika on the ground, then you're getting 2 Pacificas that way anyway. So it's actually really easy. Because at first I was running different strides, and I would stride with those first. But then it was almost too late to use this, because I would stride with something else. I would be wasting a grade 3, and then it would be another turn, so I was either putting them into damage, or they were going somewhere else, so they weren't getting my hand. So I find that running with these first is the best way. And if you do ride 1 and then you do skills and you end up not getting enough Pacificas, that if you did her skill, you wouldn't have enough to get crit, I recommend still doing it anyway, just so you can get those Pacificas out of deck and get them back and get into your hand for next turn. Because if you strode once and then didn't use her skill, because to use her you have to flip 1 over, so you will just have an extra one. But I mean, I guess you can use it just for the 3 draw later, or 3 drive checks, but you wouldn't be able to do a skill, so it wouldn't matter. But let's go over a skill. It's once per turn. It's an activated ability, so you can use it anytime before you start attacking. So once per turn, you can counterblast 1 to flip over a Twinkle Happiness Pacifica from your stride zone, and then search or pick up a card from the field, and then search your deck for a Pacifica card. Then if you show your opponent 3 Pacificas, she gets plus crit. So really good. So that's it for my Bermuda Triangle Pacifica deck. Hope you guys liked it. Talk to you guys again.